Welcome and thank you for joining today's 21CS webinar featuring our latest addition to the direct portfolio, Sentinel. My name is Virginia Rogers, and I'm part of the 21CS customer success team for ZOS. In my role, I focus on partnering with clients to ensure that our software solutions are aligning with their strategic goals and initiatives. Our CSM team provides support from the initial conversation throughout the entire sales lifecycle and post-sale to ensure that our customers are getting the most value out of our software solutions. I am joined today by Dylan Fox, Sentinel Development Manager, all the way from our Center of Excellence in Perth, Australia. He will be walking us through the features and functionality, as well as some use cases for Sentinel. And he will also be conducting a live demo a little later in the session for us as well. Please note that we do have the Q&A box open. So if any questions come to mind during the presentation, feel free to enter them in the Q&A box. We will address as many questions as we can during the Q&A portion of the webinar. And for any questions that we don't have time to address, we'll be sure to follow up with those individuals directly after the call. We're very thankful and glad that you've chosen to spend part of your day with us to learn how Sentinel can help your organization with real-time tracking and management of software configuration changes across your critical system and application libraries. I think you'll find that Sentinel will pique the interest of both sysprogs and auditors alike. By the end of the session, you'll hopefully see that Sentinel creates a safe environment for those sysprogs that are new to Z, while also reducing the time to diagnose and recover from any change-related issues. And at this point, I think everyone has had a chance to join, so we'll go ahead and get started. I'll hand it over to Dylan Fox, Sentinel Development Manager, who will give us an overview and live demo of Sentinel.
Excellent. Thank you, Virginia. Hello, everyone. I'm just taking 1 second here to share my screen. Hopefully that is now coming through and you can see my slides. My name is Dylan Fox. I've been with 21CS for several years now, and I lead the Sentinel team based here in Perth. Just quickly, what I'm going to go through in these slides is a quick introduction of Sentinel. Going to look at the key features of it, some user stories and use cases for it. Then I'm going to run through the variety of interfaces that we have in Sentinel. Quickly draw the curtain back and show how it looks working on the internals. And then getting into the real meat and potatoes of the presentation, I'll be doing a live demo of it, followed by Q&A. So what is Sentinel? It provides comprehensive and real-time tracking and management of your software configuration. It allows you to protect data sets, track changes in those in the members inside of those data sets. You can view the events, the updates that have happened inside of that data set. It allows you to roll back changes. It allows you to have member level access and give individual members, you can say lock down a data set, give individual members inside of that data set to specific users to edit or to an entire SAF group. And we also have some comparison utilities which allow you to do pretty wide scale data set comparison and all the way up to an entire DASD volume. So I'll be showing a little bit of that inside of the demo later on. But really getting into the key features of it, we sort of have 4 pillars inside of Sentinel. There's tracking and protection, backup and restoration, the comparisons and snapshotting, and then finally auditing. So when I talk about tracking and protecting, it is real-time So as changes are made, the Sentinel started task is tracking those changes, recording them, and taking backups as those changes go in. We record sort of metadata of the event. So we record sort of who, what, where, when, what program they were using, what the job name was that made the change. And if you use some of the utilities that Sentinel offers, you can also add comments to those changes. So that gives the why of those changes. We can lock down a data set to prevent modification of it. So this happens on top of your security product. So RACF, ACF2, all of those protections are still in place. But on top of that, Sentinel can additionally lock the data set. And you might ask, why would you do that when you could just lock it down through your security product? And that really takes us to the check-in and check-out features. So as I sort of alluded to before, when you have a data set that is locked by Sentinel, individual members at a time can be checked out, and that will allow exclusive editing to the target of that checkout, and that can be a user or a staff group. Those changes can then be made specifically to that member while the rest of the data set remains locked, and then those changes can be checked back in alongside a comment. With the backups and restoration, so whenever an edit is made to a tracked data set, a backup is taken, and these are automatically versioned and can be restored to any previous version quite conveniently. Inside of the ZSMF plugin, we also have a utility that allows you to view side-by-side comparisons of these versions so that you can see what the changes were and then, as necessary, restore to a previous version and be very clear about exactly what it is that you're doing and what changes you're making. Inside of the ZSMF plugin as well, the restorations of the backups, they can go to alternative data sets for sort of a staging kind of situation, or they can just be recovered in place. When it comes to comparisons, we have sort of two modes of comparisons. There is the data set level comparison. So that is working on live data sets. So you can specify one or more pairs of data sets to compare against each other. And you will see a list of, which members were added and deleted between them, which members were changed, unchanged. And again, using the ZSMF plugin, you have the opportunity to do a side-by-side comparison of that data. When it comes to entire volume comparisons, we take a snapshot of that. And a snapshot is effectively, well, for want of a better word, just a snapshot in time of that content. So we hash all of the data on that volume, and those hashes can then be compared against separate snapshots. This can be quite useful, for example, if you have, say, a production and a disaster recovery volume, and you want to just do a very wide comparison of those two to make sure that they're completely in sync with each other. And at a glance, the volume comparison can do that for you. And lastly, on auditing. So as I mentioned before, when we capture an event, we record the metadata of it, and that allows us to get the who, what, where, when, why of those changes. And so with the reporting capabilities that we have in Sentinel, you can get a very clear audit trail to investigate anything that whatever changes have been made to a data set, and for compliance purposes, validate that no unwanted changes have been made to the data set in question. So when it comes to the interfaces that we have for Sentinel, we have a batch interface, an ISPF interface, a ZSMF plugin, as I've mentioned a few times already, And we also have, and this is my favorite part, the command line interface, which is used through ZOS Unix. So the batch interface, fairly straightforward. We have a command syntax here. In this case, you can see that this piece of JCL is executing our LYG main program. And inside of the command syntax here in blue, we have a handful of manual member backups. So this is the sort of syntax that we have for Sentinel, and this gives you access via JCL to all of the functionality of the product. ISPF panels, sure you've seen a million and one of these. So we just have a various option menus inside of here, and the way the ISPF panels work is you step through various stages here. For example, right now we're looking at the protection panel for tracking a new data set. And once you fill out all the options here, these panels will then generate using the batch syntax, a piece of JCL that you can run right away or save and run later. Also, inside of inside of ISPF, we can see on the right-hand side here, this is an example of a TSO message. When I go through the demo, you'll see a couple of these. So in certain cases, when we lock down data sets, we can optionally print messages to the user's TSO session when they attempt to modify protected resources, so that they're aware of what's going on. If their changes then later get blocked, for instance, if the data set is locked. Some more examples of the ISPF panels here. On the left-hand side, I have a list of audit activities. So we can see here inside of this list, we've got down the bottom section a list of members on the left-hand column, followed by the user ID, the action that was taken. The time that was taken, the system it occurred on, the program name, the job name, and then also the comments there on the right-hand side. And then in the right-hand window, this is the backup recovery menu. So we can see here the versions sort of going in descending order. Version 0 of each of these members is the current and live version, and then we have version -1, -2, and so on and so forth. And those can be recovered and replace to roll back the contents of that member. Now, the command line interface. This is, to me, extremely exciting because I feel like this opens Sentinel up to any number of integrations. So you could run this through Ansible if you are new to Z and you're more familiar with the Unix environment. This is, I find, a very intuitive way to get used to using the product. And a lot of the things that we have in store for Sentinel will be building upon this as really the backbone of our modernization. So we can see here on the right, might be a little bit hard to read, but we've issued a Sentinel track list command to list all of the tracked data sets, and then we've piped that into JQ for JSON formatting. So by default, the output of the CLI is in JSON format, as we can see here. But if I go on to the next slide, there is also a plain text output as well. So here we can see we're running the Sentinel audits command here against the data set mact.test.1. And then we have, similar to the ISPF panels that I showed before, a similar format of this kind of table with the members and all the different actions that were taken against those members. And there's just another example of the same command, but being run not in the plain text, but in the JSON format, and again being piped through JQ for formatting and colorization. And last but not least, we have the ZSMF plugin. So this is the sort of the home view of it, where we can see the protection list table nicely formatted. And yeah, the live demo that I'll be doing is going to mainly focus on this interface. So we'll see plenty more of that in just a short moment. So pulling back the curtain a little bit on what is going on with Sentinel, basically the way that it works is we have a started task that runs on each LPAR in your sysplex, and these started tasks install a handful of dynamic exits. They monitor the SVC and DADSM calls for when members and data sets are opened and edited. We intercept those events and use that to populate our event list. And then optionally reject the call if, for example, a request to edit a member was made for a data set that was locked, for example. The started task then receives those events from the exits and then writes it to our shared repository. So these repositories here in the bottom right, we have the backup database and then the control database. The control database contains all the metadata for the audit logs, as well as the contents of the protection list. These databases need to live on shared DASD so that all of the started tasks across the Plex are able to read it. And then on the bottom left-hand side, we have the interfaces, which themselves work against the database as well. So that's just a quick dive into that. Now, I believe we have one more poll question, and then I will get into the demo.
We do. Okay, for the transition, going to let him pull up his demo environment. Which functions of Sentinel resonate the most with your team's needs, or maybe clients that you service? And you can answer multiple, you can check multiple boxes if multiple functions resonate. And I do see questions coming in. And after Dylan does the live demo, I'll have him read through those and hopefully we have time to address them. If not, we will definitely follow up with those questions individually after the session. All right. All right. Real-time monitoring seems to be popular. Auditing. All right. Thank you so much, Dylan. Looks like you're ready. We'll hand it over to you for the live demo.
Excellent. Okay. So here I am inside of the ZSMF desktop. Hopefully you are all familiar with this. So here we have the 21CS Sentinel application here. So I'm just going to double click that and launch it. And I will full screen it here. I think, hoping the text isn't too small to view, I might let's expand that a little bit. Hopefully that's a bit easier to see now. Okay, so as I said before, this is basically the splash screen, if you will. This is, we're brought right into viewing the monitored resources view. So this lets us see what data sets we've got tracked. So here I can see I have, excuse me, 4 data sets tracked here. I can see that they are all living on the volume $US03. I can see that they don't have any checked out members inside of them, and they have varying attributes between them. Of particular note, the DS3 dataset here that one is locked. So I cannot edit that. In fact, I can show that. What happens if I try to do that? If I go into ISPF, I can go to this data set, attempt to edit it, and change a member inside of here. Maybe I just repeat this comment line 4 times and attempt to save this. And I receive this message. Hopefully, I can expand that a little bit so that we can see. So this is the kind of message that we see inside of TSO, basically telling us, hey, Sentinel has locked this down and you are not able to edit this. However, if I were to go into this data set, and check out that member, I believe that was DS3 mem1. I can go into the extra options here on the right-hand side, and I have a few options that I can do here. I can view the contents of that member. I can view the audit log for it, but I'm going to check it out here. And I will check it out for myself and say edit or demo. So whenever I do perform an action inside of here, we get these toast messages in the top right telling you when an action is either pending or has been, that action was successfully carried out, or if something goes wrong, an error message will be printed there. And all of these messages are kept for posterity inside of the session history tab. So you can see if you wanted to, if something flashed by quite quickly and you didn't quite get to read what was there, it's all captured here inside of that session history. Anyway, going back to ISPF here, if I attempt to save this now, I get a message saying, yes, this thing is still tracked by 21CS Sentinel, but notably, the change actually does go through here. So I can see that my member DS3 mem1 was saved. And I can go back now to the ZSMF plugin, and we can view the audit log here. And we can see that change occurred just then. It is 10:26 at night right now, so that is correct. So there's my update. That's just popped up there. Whoops, clicking a bit too fast here. Now I can also, if I want to undo that change, I could then recover the backup. And again, here is this view of our current version, our -1, -2 versions. So here I can see was the edit for demo. This was the state it was when I checked it out. And this is an automatic comment that's just generated by the starter task to say this program, this user updated the member. So I can do I can compare it to the current version and see what the change was here. So I can see that with the live version is here on the left, and the backup that's stored by Sentinel is here on the right hand side. And so I can see, okay, here's the lines that have changed between these two versions. And if I'm happy with with how this looks and I want to revert back to this level, then I can simply recover my backup. I can either recover it in place or into another data set. Actually, because this data set is locked, it will not let me recover in place. However, I could recover this into another data set. So let me just remind myself of what these data sets are even called. I can put this one in lyg.test.demo.ds1. G.test.demo.ds1. Okay, now I can see So I recovered DS3 mem1 from this data set. I recovered it into this data set. So this member now appears here. I can open that up and see this is how it was prior to my changes. So that's an example of recovery and doing the side-by-side comparisons here. We can look at as well, if I go now into monitored resources, what it looks like to begin tracking a new data set. So I click on the big blue button in the top right here, and now I can start specifying what I want to protect. So in this case, I'm actually going to attempt to find a data set. So this launches a selector for it. And I can go in lyg.test ***, and I want to put this data set in. Off it goes. Now here, the rest of the options, I'll just run through those quite quickly. If it's an uncatalogued data set, I can put in the volume serial here. If I want to enable email alerts, I can specify, I can enable that here. The way that Sentinel handles emails is that as part of the configuration, we set up a handful of email templates, and you just need to select which template you want to use for this particular data set's email notifications. So in this case, I would say maybe template 1, but that doesn't actually exist, so I'm not going to enable that for now. I guess most interestingly, we have the attributes here. So we can lock the data set. As we saw, that blocks any updates to it. We have the notify option here. This notify option controls those TSO messages that popped up that you saw when I was using ISPF. So if those TSO messages get in the way and seem quite annoying, you can suppress those notifications by unchecking notify here. And then there is what we call quick mode, which is effectively a lightweight mechanism. This is something that you may want to use if you are, say, protecting data sets with hundreds of thousands of members inside of them, and you want to not basically record a subset of the ordinary data. So it's sort of a lightweight protection, if you will. And then we also have the backup settings as well. So you can completely disable backups if you don't care about those and you just want to see the audit events come through. And then you also have the option of either taking an initial backup at the time of protection, or if you want to wait until edits start coming through before backups start getting generated. There is also an archival mechanism in Sentinel. So you could say, I want to keep 10 or 15 backups before I start moving excess backups into a archival repository. So I'm pretty happy with those settings. So I'm going to add this to my protection list now. And we can see that that's gone through. And if I refresh my list here, I'll now see an additional data set inside my protection list. So that is looking all good there. What else have I got to show? Okay, the audit log. So I can view this here. So this is showing everything against the current data set. Actually, I wonder if there'll be more interesting things to show against data set 1. A little bit, yeah. So we can see here, again, very similar formats to what I showed in the one of the ISPF slides. We have the member and the data set from which it's come from, and then we can see who made the change, what the job name was. Because I edited those in a live TSO session, my job name is just the my user ID. But if I say made this change to a batch job, then that job name would appear here. I can see what system it happened on. I can see the timestamp of it, the program that was used to make the update, as well as in this case, this was when I recovered the member, which added it to this data set. And in these other things, these were updates to change the contents of that. Okay, I think that more or less covers it from the protection or the monitored resources view. And I'm a bit cognizant of time, so I will just quickly show the comparison side of things here. So when comparing data sets, we can issue a data set compare, and the way that this works is we can specify pairs of data sets. So I could say, data set .1 against data set .2. I can add that. It's going to tell me that doesn't work. Okay, fine. I'll use a real data set. .jcl and my colleague Earl's JCL data set. I can add that. And let's see. Maybe I'll use a Rex lab, for example. I think Earl has one too. Great. Okay. Now I can run a comparison against these. If I want to reuse the comparison, I can save it with a name. Doing a demo compare. And so if I've got, say, a whole bunch of pairs of data sets here, and I don't want to respecify them, and it's a fairly frequent comparison that I want to run, this can be pretty handy there. So I can go and execute this comparison now. And this is going to look at all the differences between the data sets. This is not going to be extremely meaningful because these are just two, completely different JCL lives. Although we can see, actually, you know what? I've got a better thing to look at here. But actually, just quickly running through this, what we can see here is we can filter down. So we can say only look at the data set, the members that have been added to these data sets. We can say look at the ones that have been deleted, and we can see what the change type was. In the case of deleted and added members, we've only got one date to show, but yeah, I think you get the gist. I can also run say here's my saved comparisons. So if I rerun this one that I ran previously here, so there's a bit more of a cut down view here. So I can see I've got 4 members. One's been deleted, one's been added, one's left unchanged between these two data sets, and one has changed between those two data sets. And as with other areas inside of the ZSMF plugin, we can do a side-by-side compare of that and see what the differences in the contents of that is. I won't. Sorry, I'm too far zoomed in. I couldn't even get to the X button there. I won't show a volume compare because it's obviously an entire DASD volume. Those take quite a long time to actually run. But you can imagine it's the same sort of view that you get out of that, just albeit with a much larger set of contents in your change list. Okay, I believe that will do it for the demo here.
Thank you so much to Dylan for sharing your expertise with us today and giving us a closer look at Sentinel. Again, I'm Virginia Rogers, one of the ZOS customer success managers for 21CS. We hope that you saw the value today in Sentinel, that it can bring not only your organization, but those that you support. And if there's anything that piqued your interest regarding how you could deploy Sentinel, we'd love to continue the conversation. Our goal with Sentinel is to provide a solution that enhances security, reduces risk, and satisfies audit requirements. I will be following up with everyone individually, but if you're ready to discuss Sentinel further, have any additional questions, or would like to see a personalized demo, definitely go ahead and send me an email directly at Virginia, VIRGINIA .Rogers, RODGERS at 21cs.com, and I will get back with you right after this session. And we look forward to connecting with you soon and hope to see you at the next 21CS webinar. Have a great day.